Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the CryptoNews podcast. We're buzzing as always, and our guest is coming hot out of southwestern US of A in beautiful San Diego, California. Today we have Markus Levin, the co-founder of XYO Network and head of operations at XY Labs. Markus is a blockchain pioneer and an industry visionary regarded for his integral role shaping the entrance and growth of Oracle blockchain technology. Markus co-founded XYO Network in 2018, establishing it as the first people-powered decentralized project to connect data from the real physical world directly with blockchain smart contracts and other digital realities. Markus has also been quoted in leading mainstream and trade publications such as Yahoo Finance, Go Ranking Rates, Blockworks, to name a few, NASDAQ TV, and has done a whole lot, as well as 15 years of experience in building, managing, and scaling companies, while also snagging a Ph.D. at Bocconi University. Without further ado, I'm very pleased to welcome Markus Levin to the CryptoNews podcast. Markus, welcome to the show, my friend.
Hi, Matt. Thanks for inviting me. I'm very excited to be on your show.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. Pumped to have you on. While doing some research and going over some show notes stuff for you, there were many daunting words and subjects and topics that came up. I'm a bit of a geo nerd myself. Perhaps nerd is the wrong word because I don't know a whole lot about it. I like to think I do, but I don't. But one area that you are an expert in, and that only probably a handful of people on the planet are, is the combination of geospatial data and trustless oracles and the metaverse, and tying all of those into one. I know it's a pretty bananas place to start, but I would love if you could tell me a little bit more about how geospatial data and trustless oracles are such a big part of the metaverse.
Yeah. The best metaverses, I think, will be the ones which are a copy of our real world, right? And then you expand upon them, right? And to be able to create a copy of our real world, you need to be able to understand it, right? Like where is a certain house, where's a certain person, right? Where's a car, where's a shop, a restaurant, you name it. And so the location component of anything is really, really important, right? And even if you go back out of the metaverse and go into the real world and say you speak about a restaurant, right? You talk about the restaurant at a certain location, or you talk about the weather, right? You talk about the weather in Toronto, for example. And so the location is basically the base layer to which gives a lot of data meaning. And then on top of that, we built the XYO Network, which is basically a trustless oracle, one of the only few which is trustless, which allows you to grab a lot of this data and then connect it with a smart contract or the metaverse or other digital realities. And we do that by using a lot of contributors and like IoT devices and mobile phones and we have like more than 5 million nodes in the network. And these nodes basically connect that data and collect that data, and then we validate and verify it through the XYO network, and then connect it with a smart contract, for example.
So tons of points there. Wow. One that popped out at me, 5 million nodes. XYO Network has 5 million nodes, and these nodes work together to verify that the information that it's collecting is truthful, to then verify that on the blockchain and pump that out to whatever application it's being used for.
That's right. Yeah. So how it works is, so first, we have more than 5 million nodes. We are really good at reaching people in the blockchain community as well as outside of it. Right. In the beginning, we tried to go after IoT manufacturers like Comcast and SK Telecom and others, and we had like very interesting conversations there and wanted to build proof of concepts. But it's like 1-2 years, maybe sometimes 3 years of conversations, and then building the proof of concept, which is very costly for a smaller company like ours. And so we realized that to increase the size of the network really in a very cost efficient manner, we need to make it very accessible. So we built, for example, a mobile app called Coin. And Coin is an augmented reality app which lets you earn rewards as you explore the world as part of our Oracle. And you can collect, for example, offline data from, let's say, a restaurant, right? Like the opening hours, you take a picture of it and other parameters. And then other people validate the same data, right? And then it gets put on top of the XYO network layer, so we know where the data got collected and how it got generated and who else was around it. And there's spawned witnesses between devices, so these devices do cryptographic handshakes, so we can prove where the data came from, right? And then as the data gets handed off, let's say it gets put into IPFS and then gets connected to a smart contract. These handoffs, we can basically prove where the data got handed off, and then that way you have a trail of origin for that data point, and you can audit it.
That's absolutely bananas. It legit insane. It makes sense though. You explained it in a really good way that truly does make sense. The importance of nodes and trustless oracles in crypto is huge. I think you also just taught me a new term, cryptographic handshakes. I don't think I've ever heard that before. Is that a Markus original, or did you snag that from someone else?
It's a team original. Yes,
that's a team original. It's such a good term because it really just simplifies it. Because when you talk about crypto or cryptography, it's a very complex topic. Not a lot of people truly grasp it, myself included. I wouldn't say that I fully understand the whole ins and outs of it, but a handshake is so straightforward, right? It's a agreement per se between two entities, and that's just such a good term. I absolutely love that.
Thank you so much.
That's absolutely money. Let's take a step back and we'll get into more nitty gritty on XYO, but I want to go back to the geospatial data point for a second. Why is this so important when creating metaverses? I understand that you are part of the team that believes that metaverses need to be more familiarized with real life, right? They can't be so far-fetched. And I'm on your team, candidly. I agree with that. I think having a completely far-fetched and sort of faux metaverse doesn't really do the trick. I don't think it will quite thread the needle. I'm in your camp in regards to, I think people need to be able to be like, I can sort of touch it and feel that. I can sort of familiarize with that. How does geospatial data come into play there? Like, walk me through sort of the nitty gritty, the technical aspects. Like, are you pulling data from Google Maps? Where are you getting this data from? How are you using it? And how does it tie into perhaps some of the metaverses that we already know, like the Sandbox or Decentraland or Somnium Space or NFT worlds?
Yeah, it could be in varying ways. So let's say you want to have a metaverse party in your house for the winter holidays. So imagine you can scan the room, right? And say, okay, this is the room, this is my desk, this is my, water glass and my set of everything. And then you invite your friends into your house. It's a very intimate space, right? And it's really your house. So there's an emotional connection to it. And everybody comes to your house and you have this winter holiday party. And it is these kinds of I think, emotional connections which are important. And the only way for you to be able to connect this data, like let's say you scan the room and to connect this geospatial data, right? That it's your house at this place, right? And that you own that house. So there's an NFT component there, and that you have the right to invite people into it. And then, it's the measurements of the room, for example, that's geospatial as well. So it's not only the locational thing, but it's a measurement of things. So this is very critically important. Or, for example, the T-shirt you are wearing right now, that you own it, right? Where you bought it, how much you paid for it. Maybe that it's a limited edition, right? And then your avatar in the metaverse has the right to wear the same T-shirt. And then, it can shoot fireworks and whatever fun stuff. If you look at Nike, forgot the number now. It was a mind-boggling amount how much revenue Nike made out of their NFTs, like sneaker NFTs, right? And the idea there is that everything you buy in the real world has additional value in the digital world, and that digital value will improve basically increase the value of the real world item as well. And maybe you can even trade it separately, right? So you can keep your real world sneakers, but you can sell your digital sneakers, for example. And so it's a way to have additional value from additional things. And to prove all of this, you need the location component. So geolocation is the underlying, is a base layer of all the data, because it allows to tell you where that data get generated, and it can really prove that you are the owner, or that you wore it, or that you used something, or where you are currently, and where data gets generated, and so on. So you want to make absolutely sure that data doesn't get spoofed or hacked, right? So today, for example, it's very easy to download a GPS spoofing app, right? And you can pretend that you are in San Diego right now, but you're actually in Toronto. And the problem for any second app on your phone, like Uber or Yelp or Amazon and so on. But think about the world of the future with smart cities and self-driving cars and all flying drones, all these things. You have to make sure that location is certain. And now think even one step further, right? Our lives of the future, where we have a $50 billion economy in the metaverse by 2030, I think McKinsey said, right? And then there are $1 trillion predictions after that. And so a lot of that value will come from the right real world items and the yields they generate. And so you want to make absolutely sure that you have the geolocation component nailed down.
It's very interesting, man. That shit fires me up here. Let's jump into the metaverse for a second. Obviously, with the work you and your team are doing, you guys are big believers in the metaverse. Do you think that the present day metaverses are just another passing trend? Do you think they'll lose hype? Do you think they're here to stay? How much do they need to change? Give me sort of your 6, 12, and perhaps 24 plus month outlook on the metaverse as a whole.
6 months is short. I think the next 6 months, not much is going to change. Maybe Mark Zuckerberg is going to change his avatar in the next 6 months for the meta version of the metaverse. But I think in the next 6 months, you're going to have lots of discussion from policymakers, in the crypto space, which will realize that there is, this confluence of crypto and the metaverse, that they belong together, right? Like Web3 and the metaverse belong together. And that in America, for example, if technology wants to be enabled, right, they need to enable Web3, I think. And if they don't, then the open metaverses we see in like Decentraland or Clayton, the Sandbox, and so on won't be working, right, without proper Web3 regulation. So I think that's going to happen in the next 6 months there. But with the next 12, 24 months or 5 years, I think the metaverse will become more and more accessible. And right now you have them mostly on your phone or on your computer, right? If you're lucky, you have a headset and you can access the metaverse like that. But the future there will be several metaverses, I think, and they will be augmented reality metaverses. So they will be overlaid over the real world, something like Google Glass, right? And then there are the fully immersive metaverses, like the thing a lot of the companies I just mentioned are planning, and Meta as well. And they might cooperate in the open metaverses, and the accessibility is key there. And then the content is, of course, key. Like, just imagine a world where you don't need to pay for university anymore, right? So you just put your headset on, right? Everybody goes to class. It doesn't matter if you're in San Diego right now, or in Toronto, or in, I don't know, Addis Ababa, or wherever in the world. And you go to your class in Harvard, and university is basically free, right? How much equal the world can become. And I think the metaverse is a lot about that, right? It provides equal access to anyone, doesn't matter your status or your wealth. I think that's where the metaverse will end up, at least in the open metaverses, like the blockchain-based ones. Meta is probably going to be a closed metaverse, right? So then money is access there. But in the open ones, I think access will be much more equal.
So you think there will be two types of metaverses, to sort of summarize your point there. There will be the open ones, which will be powered by blockchain tech, and there will be closed ones, which will be powered by realistically fiat. And that will be sort of the a la Meta business model.
Yeah, I think for those, even for the fiat powered ones, you still have different ones. You have Meta, which seems to be a closed one, and then Epic Games, right, wants to build an open one. Unity, I think, an open one. Microsoft probably a closed one. You know, everyone wants to be part of it because it's going to be such a huge amount of value and money involved there. Probably the future of communication is going to be in the metaverse, right? And if you think about the augmented reality metaverse, but I think the open ones will allow anyone really to connect to them. It doesn't matter if you're a university or if you are 24/7 nightclub, you know, and nobody is going to be censored. It's going to be your way, like you participate in a real world there. And the closed ones, you have to play by Meta's rules, for example, right? So you have to use their payment processor so that they can take 30% of your revenue or whatever, these kinds of rules, right? So I think in the end, the open ones will win there.
Should we be worried about Meta? Like, candidly, I haven't checked in on what Zucky Baby and Meta and the team are doing in quite some time. I want to say in almost a year since I believe the announcement came out. I know they haven't done a whole lot to my knowledge. I'm sure they've done a shitload behind the scenes, but forward facing, consumer facing, they haven't done a whole lot. They haven't released a whole lot. Do you think they can be the number one metaverse? Do you think they have the potential to be the front runner? Obviously they have the user base, right? They have billions of people they could convert with a switch with Facebook and Instagram, but do they have a chance at doing this? Or is it going to be, you know, someone like a Unity or an Epic, or will it be a Sandbox, or will it be someone that we haven't even heard of yet?
I don't know. You know, I'm very excited about what Meta is doing, you know, and I know many people who are listening from the blockchain community, they don't want me to say that, but
they don't want to see Meta succeed.
They spend $10 billion a year right now to build Metaverse, right? Everybody says they were building the Metaverse before, but when Facebook changed its name to Meta, suddenly everybody rushes to the fences and they are worried they're losing out. So now you have like tens of thousands of open job positions suddenly Metaverse related, right? Everybody's investing into the Metaverse, and I think what Meta is doing is telling everyone the metaverse is important. We changed our name. You better pay attention to it as well. And I think what's happening there is it's creating such competition for Meta, and that's awesome. You know, I think it enables all these other companies to say, yes, we are here now. Give us money, VC, and let's go to the races. And I think they might have made a mistake in changing their name and taking the Meta part outside of their like more secret type of labs environment, because suddenly, you know, everybody wants to compete. And so I think they're going to create incredible innovation themselves. They're going to create some incredible metaverse engineers and so on. Those people are going to leave the companies, and some of those innovations going to go to other companies. And I think it's going to enable the open metaverse as well. And so I think the more competition, the better. And it will also allow the open metaverses, where I'm more a fan of, you know, like Clayton and Decentraland and so on. Those ones to succeed more, to have a higher likelihood of succeeding.
You don't bet against Meta though. Like that's historically been an absolutely horrendous bet, you know? And again, they have just the plethora of resources is absolutely absurd. An infinite amount of talent, resources, money, power, leverage, you know, regulatory policy, you know, like they literally have everything they need. They have all the tools, more so than anyone else, to my knowledge. Are we going to see some backdoor parade from Apple or Microsoft or any other of the sort of FANG companies that could come out of nowhere and dabble in the space?
Yeah, definitely. They're there. I think Apple, there's some rumors, right? They built the Apple Glass right now. So an augmented reality glass might be released in 2024, which is entrance into the metaverse, right? It's an augmented reality. It's much more accessible, I think, than a virtual reality headset, because with a virtual reality headset, you need to sit on your sofa or at least stand in front of it. With augmented reality, right, you can overlay your real environment with aliens and you shoot them down.
Cool. So cool.
Exactly.
So cool. And one last thing on that. Tim Cook also said, he said, this is my last hoorah. This is my going away present. This is what I want to be remembered for. Then Tim Cook has been saying this for a while. So that's it. You know, if you're not going to bet against Facebook, the one company in the whole world who I would never, ever bet against is Apple, more so than Facebook. There's not a doubt in my mind these glasses are going to be fucking incredible. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to be so sweet. They're going to be $2,000 when they come out. It's Apple slaves like me who have Apple everything. I'm not even going to look twice. I'm going to buy it right away. And I'm sure you will too. But sorry to interrupt. Just had to get that point across. I can't wait for this to come out. The thing that really intrigues me on top of the hardware is what software are they going to add on to this? Is this going to be sort of the hardware for the metaverse, similar to sort of what Apple has done right now with sort of hardware for the internet, hardware for communication, whatever? You know, I can't live without my MacBook or my phone, more my phone more than anything else. I'll never go team Android, but will Apple also create some software? Are they working on an actual sort of legit metaverse that, you know, like a sandbox or a decentralized? That's what I'd love to know. Yeah. And the interesting thing is that Apple is an incredibly closed ecosystem, right? So, you know, you have to get everything through the iTunes store, right? You use their operating system, and they take 30% of any apps they sell, right? And ongoing subscriptions and so on. As you know, like, there was this Fortnite and Apple like fight about the 30% they took. So if Apple creates a metaverse, you know, will it be as closed off? And that would not be as ideal, I think, if they build the best hardware, right? But then that hardware can't access the rest of the metaverses. Or will they create a super amazing hardware and then have some gateway which allows you to connect to the sandbox and friends? And I think that's an important question. But I think even by the hardware existing and the hardware successfully selling, right, they will then entice other companies to create their own super amazing hardware, which then might be more open and also creates awareness. A lot of it is education, right? So if people see other people using an Apple type glass, right, going into a Apple type metaverse, you know, then that creates awareness. They want it too, and maybe they visit some of the others as well. Very good point there. Marcus, we're going to take a quick break and give a massive shout out to our sponsor of the show, and that's Prime XBT. I love Prime XBT. Been using them for a hot minute now, as they offer a robust trading system for both beginners and professional traders. Doesn't matter if you're a rookie or a vet, you can easily design and customize your layouts and widgets to best fit your trading style. Prime XBT is also running an exclusive promotion for listeners of the CryptoNews podcast. You can use the promo code CryptoNews50, that is CryptoNews50, all one word, to take advantage and receive 50% of your deposit credited to your trading account. Again, that is CryptoNews50 to receive 50% of your deposit credited to your trading account. And now back to the show with Marcus. Marcus, we've been buzzing on the metaverse. A couple more questions, and then we will wrap up on this regard, and we'll get back into XYO. Any hot takes, metaverse hot takes, that only perhaps Marcus believes in that no one else does? Something very rare, very out of right field that might turn a couple heads or create a lovely soundbite.
I think people wonder if the metaverse will be the next internet, and I think it will be much more than that. It will be basically our next lives, you know, where everything gets connected. You are more aware of your world, and you have so much more world to explore. And I think it's going to be just mind-boggling.
You got to keep going on that. You can't give me such a spicy take and then cut it short. You think the metaverse will be more than the internet, more important than the internet? It will impact us more than the internet. It will be our next lives. Give me examples here. Give me something I can touch and feel.
Yeah, you can visit any place in the world. You can go to any university I mentioned before. You can touch anyone's hand, and you can be at any riot you want to be. You can demonstrate and bring democracy around the world anywhere you want to be right now. Let's say you want to be in Iran with the incredibly brave people demonstrating there right now, or in other places in the world. You can support and show democracy, for example, or let's say you were into the Queen, right? You could be at her funeral, like just a few weeks ago, and you're more connected to the world with the metaverse, and it gives you a much broader ability to connect with the world than just your own backyard. And I think that is going to open our minds and going to reduce things like racism, for example, where, racism often comes from, know your community, right? You know the people within it, and they all look like you, and they all talk like you, and they have similar experience to you, right? And so everything outside of it is scary, for example. And those things can breed racism. But if you are connected in a world, right, where it doesn't matter if you are talking with someone from Ethiopia or from Norway or from Ukraine or from Brazil or from the United States, right, and everybody comes together all the time, I think it's going to reduce prejudices and racism and those kinds of malices, that humanity is hunted by, and it's going to change the world, how the world is going to work.
I love that. That will be some exciting stuff. You brought up a lot of really good points there. Going to the Queen's funeral, that would have been very cool. Taking part in democratic events, not democratic, but in different democracies around the world would be very cool as well. I'm a big sports guy. Being at a Champions League game, which is, I believe, on as you and I are recording, that would be a treat as well. Yeah, there'd be so many really cool things. I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. The one thing that scares the shit out of me is I'm a bit of a traditionalist in life, and yes, there are probably more positive than negative impacts in regards to how technology has affected our lives so far, but I'm worried that we will just become robots and zombies, and tech will just run our show more so than it does today, right? And again, you have to look at the trade-offs. I can be at a Champions League game while in Toronto. No such thing as a Champions League game in Toronto. But on the flip side, I will be more of a slave to tech, and I will not be present and living in the moment. You know what I mean? Like I am worried about the negative implications that AR and VR could have on society.
Yeah, I think you're right. But then I think I can be traditional as well, right? I'm very family focused and so on. I'm outdoors a lot. But then I have my family lives all around the world, right? And I'd love to sit with them in my living room and play Settlers of Catan with them, right?
Oh, great game. Yeah.
And if my mom is there, my sisters and cousins and nephews and nieces, and that would be awesome, That would be super traditional, but it would be only enabled because of the metaverse. Right now, I call them and I FaceTime them and so on, but it doesn't feel as natural as sitting with them and having a conversation on my sofa, And I think even as a traditionalist, I think that works. I think the problems are addictions, where you can't disconnect from yourself. And I don't know how to solve that. That's going to happen. But I think even as a traditionalist, there's so much to embrace there.
The other very scary thing is the whole porn aspect, where there's already a huge downfall of people. I'm 27, people younger than me not having as much sex as people my age and older. Right, the quantity of sex has gone down. It continues to go down every single year, which isn't good. Obviously, Musk is a very big advocate of having kids and increasing the population for obvious reasons. I totally get where he's coming from. But going back to the whole sex thing, it's like you shouldn't be able to, in my opinion, one, I don't think porn is good for society as a whole. But two, like VR and AR porn, that is going to be horrendous for society. When you can have your version, right? Everyone has different takes. Your version of a perfect girl or boy in front of you, like that's just, that is so bad. I think of all things metaverse related, I think that will be the worst thing that happens, where not even just young people, but full ass grown men and women will be, will be playing with themselves nonstop to their perfect You know what I mean? It's going to be fucked up.
Yeah, it might lead to population issues, but then there are traditionalists like you and me, which like real people, and you're going to rule the world.
It's true.
But I think it can lead to problems. But then society, if you look at the Me Too movement, for example, right, how much that has changed perception of like Victoria's Secrets, for example, right? It was all these like Victoria's Secrets angels, blah, blah, all these models and so on, right? And now this company is struggling, right?
100%.
And their advertising is now more like inclusive, body affirmative, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what body type you have, right? So you're beautiful. And I think this society understands, right? While you still have access to, I don't know, whatever porn you want to watch, right? Whatever models you want to look at and so on. But our understanding as a society is that this is acceptable behavior, right? And our thinking changes. And I think similar things can happen there as well with like metaverse type porn, right? It's like, okay, this is behavior which is desired or which society wants and others are not. And I think it's conversations we're going to have about this, right? And then we find ways to protect people and so on.
Well, look, one thing I will say, Marcus, and you can clip this, whoever's listening, clip the shit out of this. I'm going to go off the rails here. This will fuck millions of people up. You heard it here. And again, this isn't a me only take. A lot of people are saying this, but I wholeheartedly believe that AR and VR porn will not just slightly, but will royally fuck the minds of hundreds of millions of people. It will be, it will. 10 years down the road, we will look back at this. I'll be pumping this clip out. Hopefully the CryptoNews podcast is still buzzing, but I'm going to pump this clip out. I'm going to blast it everywhere. And yeah, that's just, we're going off the rails here anyway. But yes, in summation, the metaverse will be 98% positive and 2% negative. And whenever you can get those kind of metrics, you run with it. So Marcus and I are for the metaverse. Let's jump back into XYO. How are you guys directly or indirectly working on building the metaverse? Because you guys are very, very intertwined. You go on their website, the metaverse pops up all over the place. You have many different, your hands are in many different cookie jars, coins, protocols, obviously the geospatial data, so on and so forth, 5 million plus nodes. Tell me about how you and the XYO team are building the metaverse.
Yeah, it's all about the connectivity. So the metaverse is not useful without, or has limited use without this data connectivity, like to real world data or from other digital realities. And we create this data connectivity in a trustless way, right? Like there is right now, I'm not aware of another project, right, which creates trustless data in the way we do. Like if they create data, right, then it comes from, let's say, a website or something like that. So it's not trustless. And we make sure that the data you will see, or the things you will see and experience in the metaverse are real in a way.
Tell me about some of XYO's most recent developments. What do you guys have on the horizon? What is next on the timeline and on the roadmap? What do we as consumers have to look forward to? And a follow-up to that is, how can the average Joe or Josephine get involved? I know you guys have a coin. Tell me about how, the average person can support or contribute to the XYO ecosystem.
Yeah, so we have just released XYO 2.0, which makes our whole ecosystem faster, even more reliable, but most of all, more accessible, right? So you can connect to us through smart contracts, but now you can do it also through APIs and so on. So as a developer for many traditional company, even you can connect with what we do. And we are now continue to build out our XYO 2.0 toolkit. And regarding the involvement, of course, we have our token XYO, which powers the XYO network. And then, but the easiest part also to contribute is right now download the coin app, right, and become part of the nodes, right, and earn XYO by contributing data to this wonderful new world of the future. And in exchange, you earn tokens and so on. And we have the question is, how can new people get involved? We estimate that about 80% of our new users are non-crypto people, but 95% of them cash out XYO. So we bring a lot of new people into the crypto ecosystem. And that's, I think, what it's about. So that's a great way to contribute, right? Then there's a token, of course. And then we love developers, and everything we do is open source. So people who develop in and around our ecosystem. We have a $20 million ecosystem fund in partnership with Outliers Fund. So if you think you have a project which you want to build on XYO, or which uses XYO tech, or you think fits somehow into our ecosystem, then reach out and maybe we can help you not only with your tech, but also with some of your funding.
I love that. Markus, what a treat of an episode, man. You taught me a ton and I learned a hell of a lot. Really appreciate you coming on. Before we let you go, can you please let our listeners know where they can find you and XYO online and on socials?
Me is a little difficult. I believe in everything XYO, so my voice is in XYO. So just follow XYO on Twitter and Instagram, Discord, and wherever you find other crypto projects as well.
Amazing. Markus, thank you so much, mate. Really appreciate it. Next time I'm out in Cali, I will, not next time, never been to Cali. When I do go to Cali, I will hit you up. I would love to have a bite to eat with you, get to know you in person. What a treat, man. Really appreciate you coming on, and wishing you and the team all the best, and can't wait for round 2.
Thank you. Likewise. It was awesome to be on the show, man. Thank you.
Folks, what an episode with Markus Levin from XYO. Dropped knowledge bombs left, right, and center. Geospatial data, trustless oracles, nodes up the yin-yang, over 5 million of them. XYO Network, and a whole lot of Metaverse. Absolutely love to see it. I had a blast, and I hope you had a blast listening. If you did, please do subscribe. It would mean the world to my team and I. Speaking of the team, love you guys. Eustace, the sound editor from the clouds, from the heavens, you're the GOAT. Appreciate you. And to all the listeners, love you guys. Keep on growing those bags and keep on staying healthy, wealthy, and happy. Bye for now, and we'll talk soon.